Hi guys, Raquel here with Paints and Glitter. I welcome you to my channel, and today I'm going to introduce you to the Decadent Decor die set from Tonic Studios. This is a 31-piece die set. Magnetic wallets, by the way, you can get from Tonic Studios if you don't have them. And depending on the die set, they will come with the die sets. I believe all of the showcase die sets are now coming with these wallets, if I'm not mistaken. So what you have here is all of these pieces that you see here. There is a really nice large rectangle piece that has 3 tabs all the way around. And then there's a smaller rectangle here that also has 3 tabs all the way around. And then this portion here, same thing, 3 tabs all the way around. There's this one here that will allow you to create a little drawer along with this smaller rectangle here. Then there are side pieces that you can use with this die set, and they have this shape here. So there's a larger one and a smaller one. So here's the big one, here's the smaller one. This one does have tabs on the sides. And then there are layering pieces. So there's a solid layering piece for each one. This one is actually divided into 2. And then there are the pieces that you can use alongside the solid ones. And these are called verso dies. They cut into the background, not the edges. And then you'll use it in conjunction with the edge die so that you can cut out as many layers as you like. This also includes some sentiments, but these are a little bit different. So it does state here, a place for, and that one is kind of the header for the way that you can use this if you want to. And then this one reads bits and bobs. This one reads notes, pens, glue, just a note, and scissors. So you get the idea of what the set will be for, because of course, being some desk decor, you can create something that looks like this, which is super duper cute. I've been using mine for a few weeks now. I did create the tutorial a few weeks ago, and I've used it every day since, so I can tell you it's quite handy. So if you're working on a particular project, let's say, and you just want to gather all of your materials, this is going to be really great for that. And the other thing that I noticed is that I'm keeping it right next to my die cutting machine, because then I know exactly where my low tack tape is. I can add the pens that I want to use for whatever project. If I happen to have some little flowers like these from Little Birdie, which are so cute, I can add them in. And then I went a little bit further and also made a little notepad, just using the little notepads that you can get from your local dollar shop or dollar store here in the United States. The sticky notes. So here's the label, and look at how darling that is. So I did add a little clip here using glitter cardstock from Tonic Studios, and this here is also double-sided cardstock from Tonic Studios. So I'll link that below if it's still available. And I just thought it was super sweet. The ribbons from Tonic Studios, it was super easy to make this because you're essentially just wrapping the paper around. So you just cut it a little bit larger than the notepad, and then you give yourself about 1/4 of an inch, I would say, maybe 3/8 of an inch for the height if you want to. And then that came together super darling easy. This looks. If you can tell, I used some stencils to color in those darling butterflies. This happens to match the colors of my room because I have that kind of blue, and I used embellishment mousse to color those in. And then I added the title here that says glue. So of course my Nuvo glue, this is the larger of the bottles that you can get, fits right there, or if I want to, I can add the smaller ones. So it's a really nice height, but let me show you here how darling this looks. What I did is that I used Nuvo sprays and powders, the shimmer powders, to color the paper. So if you see that, maybe you might see a hint of, okay, there you go. So there you can see the spray shine. It's so very pretty. And I also used Ballet Pink cardstock on the background of that one, and I just love the way that came together. So of course this video is going to be a tutorial, so you get to see what that looks like, but I also wanted to show you, you can use it for cards, or I was thinking also junk journaling. This would be an excellent set for that because of the fact that you can create a pocket, and that's what I did here for this 5x7 card. Here, what I did is that I used some papers that I had in my stash that I just thought were so very pretty for this time with those little birdie flowers. They're so cute. They're super tiny. So I did use those there. And on the bottom of that little birdhouse that I just fussy cut from the paper, the drops that I used here to top off this gorgeous pearlescent white panel, which by the way is also Tonic Studios paper, layered onto that glitter cardstock, also from Tonic Studios, is the color Seashell Pink. But in any case, I just thought it would be cute to put the little sentiment, that the cut-aparts that you can cut from the paper collection, and I added some seam binding and then a little tiny flower there on the center with another drop. And then I sprayed the background, which is just this floral panel, which I added little drops to, and just so a little bit of trim there on the edges, and that just is a super simple card with a shabby chic. So I just created a fun card. And then over here, I wanted to show you that you can also make a smaller little box. So don't think that because the tutorial will be for this, that you have to make that size. You can certainly use the dies any way that you like. I kind of improvised this one and created my own little small box, and I thought this would be great also, just if you need to move things around your desk, or you just want to have a smaller version, or make multiples. For instance, if you did this in rainbow order and then just had all of your drops, if you're maybe new to the Nuvo collections of drops or sprays and that sort of thing, and you want to start organizing your room but on a really strict budget, if you have cardstock, you can use this set for that. So I thought that was super cool. And I just love the versatility of paper crafting. It makes me excited when you can personalize things. And by the way, I don't know that I mentioned, this says Bits and Bobs right there. So if you could tell, I also used quite a few layers there, just because I like my sentiments to be really nice and sturdy. So that's something that I like to do. Then lastly, I wanted to show you, and it's not going to be part of the tutorial, but if you're like me and you like to do your nails and you end up collecting all sorts of little nail paraphernalia, whether it be the little gems or the files or the brushes, this is excellent for that. So here you get to see, and I know it's kind of a strange view of it, but I just wanted to see how much I could fit in here, and sure enough, it's excellent. And then I wanted to show you how beautiful those papers turned out. That was using the shimmer sprays, or powders, sorry, from Tonic Studios. So this was a tiny bit different in a sense, because of the colors that I used, but I wanted to show you the side there. Look at how darling that is. And all I did there, I used the sequins from Tonic Studios just to adhere them, and I'm going to move this out of the way. I adhered them to the side there of that panel, and I get all of that gorgeous shine. And of course, what I did here was that I colored the actual flowers that cut into that paper. And on the back, let me show you the difference. But look at this. I dry embossed that larger piece. So when you look at the tutorial, just think of that you can use the tools that you have available to create the project in the style that you prefer. I love using all of the mousses and sprays and powders, all that good stuff that adds color and shine to my projects. And I love being organized as well. So I like a nice, neat, tidy space, and that is what got me really excited about working with these dies. So I hope that you enjoy the tutorial. Don't forget that if you're new to my channel, you should subscribe. Enjoy the video. To make this desk decor piece, you're going to be cutting using the largest die in the set, a total of 6 pieces that look like this. And what you're going to notice is that I did cut 2 of them in watercolor card. I did that just to have a little bit of a different finish on the outside, but you can certainly cut them out of any paper that's at least 300 GSM or 110 pound. You're really going to need that to be sturdy. You're going to be cutting 2 pieces that look like this, and we'll come back to that. That is the smaller of these 2 shapes. So of the larger one in your set, you'll be cutting out 4 pieces, and these will be adhered together, but we'll come back to that. There's also going to be this rectangle that has 3 tabs all the way around. You'll need 1 for the one that I'll be making. Shape, you'll need 2. It also has tabs on all 3 sides. 2 pieces that look like this. As you can see, I've already decorated 1. And go ahead and burnish your folds if you want to. 2 of the smallest rectangle in the set. And then you're going to need 2 pieces that look like this. It's a long rectangle with 3 tabs all the way around. And as you can tell, I've already decorated mine. I'm using ballet pink card, and then I'm also using watercolor card that I did color using Nuvo shimmer powder in Lilac Waterfall, as well as a couple of other sprays, and I will list them below, but it's all Nuvo spray and that beautiful shimmer powder, and that's going to be how I decorate my little desk caddy. So let's start here. You're going to take 2 pieces of that large rectangle that I mentioned, and what you're going to do is face them with the tabs facing the same way, back to back, with the pretty side, you know, facing out. However, don't adhere any of the tabs, only adhere that center rectangle. So remember, don't adhere the outside edges. Now, in order to avoid adhering those tabs, I am going to fold the ones on this piece, and I'm going to burnish them. That way I can accurately adhere this. Match your corners and then make sure that your tabs are facing the same way. Just don't adhere them, of course. And I'm going to try to be careful to match them all the way around. You might have to walk your fingers or walk the paper all the way. But if you're careful, you should be able to adhere it. I was plenty generous with the adhesive on purpose so that it would give me an opportunity to line up my paper before applying pressure all the way down. And now I can remove the backing here, finish this with my bone folder. And if you would like to, you can let this rest under a heavy book or maybe your cutting plates overnight to prevent any warping. Once your paper is adhered, you're going to have those open tabs on the back and on the sides. Using the smaller of the 2 little triangle shapes here, you're going to adhere these also back to back. You can do it like this. Okay, that can be your right side, and the other one is going to be your left side. Take those 2 and adhere these back to back with that back portion and bottom portion facing open. Now this piece is going to adhere onto this large rectangle. What you're going to do is you're going to notice that there are some little notches in the center here. So you want to make sure that when you adhere this piece, that it lines up right with those little notches that are there. You can even take a ruler and just draw a very faint line, or what I'll be doing is I'm going to take a score tool and I'm just very lightly going to score that, and I'm going to apply my adhesive as a bead right on that line. That way I know that that's where I'm aiming my paper. And I'm going to follow that line now, top to bottom, making sure that that's the center. You should now have a piece that looks like this. Almost like it's like a face with a little nose in the center. Then you're going to take your two rectangles that have the tabs on all three sides. I've gone ahead and decorated mine because I know that I'm not going to be able to reach into this so easily once it's already put together. So if you want to, now is when you would put the lining on. And it doesn't come with a die to decorate this, so you can just take the same exact die that you use to cut your base and just cut away the three tabs. That's what I did. Make sure you burnish your folds and then adhere these two pieces back to go on the opposite side of where you place this triangle. So here you're going to do the same thing. You're going to look for the little score lines there, and if you want to, you can do what I had done in the front, which is to draw a little score line on there if you'd like. And I wish I had done that. But I'm going to try to match it as best as I can here. I'm going to trust myself to make a straight line here. I think that's pretty good. And then I'm going to take the long side of my piece here, and I'm going to aim that right to that end, and then also to the opposite end here. If you would like to, if you want to decorate this portion, now is when you would do that. Just go ahead and cut some rectangles. So yes, from the center to the edge, it is 3/4 of an inch wide. And then top to bottom, it is about 4 3/8 of an inch tall. What you're going to do is take the larger rectangle that has the three tabs on each side, and you're going to notice that this piece here in the center has some little notches, and so does the piece here. So as I had mentioned before, you can try to highlight that if you would like to. I'm going to take my paper piercer and just kind of press on it a tiny little bit. And I've already marked mine here with my paper piercer as well. And if you'd like to, you can create now what will essentially be a little drawer. You can do this twice, one on each side if you want to. I'm only going to be making one. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the backing off of this. I did place double-sided adhesive here. And I'm going to place this little tab so that it matches up with the little notch that's here and the one that's on this piece here. So that's what I'm aiming at, but I want it to be below the notch, not above it. Add a little bit of liquid adhesive because I do want this to create a nice bond. That I'm aiming at the little notch in my paper here. Just want to make sure that I place this here. And this way I can actually press onto that. And of course you could add that layer before you adhere this to the background. It's completely optional to add the decorative layer on here because it really depends on how you're going to use this. But I just think it's going to look really cute. I just know that it's easier for me to apply pressure like this. And now I wanted this really variegated look, and I'm so very pleased with how this has turned out with the colors that I picked out with the sprays and everything. It was so much fun. The two other pieces that you have are going to create the back and the bottom of this. However, you do need to remove one of the tabs from one of them, not both. And it's going to be the longer tab. So this essentially ends up being right about 4.5 inches wide. Just remove that long tab. These edges. And they're all going to be valley folds. Take note here of the one that's going to be the bottom. If you would like to, and this is just a suggestion, go ahead and take a ruler and match up the little notches that you see there. And if you would like to, just take a score tool and just really gently, very lightly score that. I think it's going to come in handy to have that. Now go ahead and adhere these two together. Now going to sit right here. And what you want to be mindful of is that the little notches on the back piece here that I had mentioned before, right in the center, are going to now match this piece. So if you want to, you can just continue that line, matching those little notches again. And I am able to see them, but for my own reference here, I am going to just very lightly burnish that. It's not going to take anything away from the project because it won't be visible. So I'm going to place this on here again, and what I'm going to do is now adhere this, and I'm going to make sure that the little notch here matches this piece all the way down, and then the same thing on the bottom. Now that the back is adhered, you get something that looks like this. Here's the front. Okay, so this gives you two nice little spaces back here into which you'll be able to fit some items. And this also has little notches on the top, on the curve. There's one here, one at the bottom. I did take my score tool and go ahead and mark those just for my own personal reference. However, these need to be doubled up, so make sure you do that first. And of course you need 4 pieces in order to be able to do that, because they go on both sides. You can lay one on top of the other. Apply your adhesive. And I am being very generous with this because I want a really good adhesion on here. I'm going to start at the back edge and then work it onto the sides. I think that'll be better. So that adhesive was a little bit too dry. Just going to do that. Reapply here and here. And then I'm just going to work this edge together. You do have to coax that paper to join because of the fact that there's this paper pressing against it. Just make sure that you take advantage of the score line that you had made, if you made one, so that you know the placement of your little shelf piece there. And the same with this side. You're going to apply pressure onto it. Don't be shy about that. And then hold on to that so that you get that little notch right in the middle of this piece here. You may have to pull back on it a little bit so you can see it, but you'll be able to notice it if you did use the scoring technique that I shared with you. Okay, once you have your placement, you can burnish all of your pieces. I am going to line the inside on the back. I did cut a piece for that. Now, of course, you can decorate the outer portions here. And what I've done is the same as I've done before, which was to add the panels on top of that ballet pink cardstock. And the panels in and of themselves have all the different colors and sprays. The next thing we'll do is add the panels on the back and on the bottom. This is another little piece that you can make. It's a little drawer that of course can come in very handy for this piece. It's pretty simple. You just use the smallest rectangle in this set. These two pieces with the notches, which of course you can decorate as I've done there using the layers. Can go right on here on the front and on the back. I'm going to apply adhesive on this tab as well. This will go on the opposite side. So I'll apply the base onto here. Makes it a little bit easier for me. Just like that. They'll adhere with the long tab onto that rectangle. Of course, using these little tabs on the sides, you can fold those in, and those are going to match your little corners. And here, just by cutting another rectangle the same size as the bottom, and this is just the ballet pink card. And if you want to, of course, you can line the inside with other pieces that you can cut out by just cutting the same pieces again and then cutting away the little tabs that are on the edges. And I am going to reinforce this once again with another piece of heavy cardstock, 300 GSM or 110 pound. And place the heavy acrylic block on my piece here so that it could dry nicely, make full contact with the paper there. So if you need to fit something in these slots, these acrylic blocks that you use for stamping are the perfect size. Now, this is of course meant to go in here. I went ahead and used an older stencil from Tonic Studios that they had released with a magazine several years ago. I'm going to use that to decorate this panel here. because I think that that contrast looks really pretty with that in the background. And this was just by using a ruler that I cut that down to size. And if you're curious as to the color, I did use Nuvo embellishment mousse in aquamarine for that with a small brush, and I just love that color. So I used a small brush. All you have to do is rub the brush into the mousse and then go over your stencil just like that, and it'll color the paper for you really nicely, and you get that beautiful metallic finish. Okay, so here it is complete. I'm going to give you a little shot of how you can use this here. Of course, I did put the sentiment, the glue here, bits and bobs on this corner there. And then what I did was that I took a pack of little post-it notes and I did cut a piece of card to just wrap around it, and then use some really pretty papers from the Sweet Sorbet collection. So I just went ahead and cut that down, and this is about 2 7/8 inch square. The paper is 3 inches wide, and I gave myself about a 1/4 inch here, maybe a little bit less for the height of the pad, and then 3 inches for the back. So super easy to make. I did use Tonic Studios ribbon, and that's placed right underneath that beautiful paper. And then there you see the word notes. I did stack that up again by cutting the sentiment 4 different times. I did cut the different papers here, or I'm sorry, the stack of papers I cut out in a 110-pound card. Then I did cut out the mirror card to place right on top, and the shadow is watercolor paper that I had sprinkled with some of the shimmer powder in Lilac Waterfall. So here, of course, you can see that there's quite a bit of room. You can put a lot of your little maybe Nuvo markers there. You can fit your scissors. You can fit your little pokey tool. I mean, all of those essentials. Or if you want to, you can do this in themes of different colors if you wanted to do something like that, because of course you don't have to use it the way that I've done so in terms of the construction. I would suggest that you play around a little bit and see which way you like it to face, because for instance, if you want to, I placed the little drawer down here, but you can flip this over this way. So say that little drawer was not there, you could definitely do it so that these little pockets here, or sections, were facing the bottom, and of course then that would give you a different type of layout there. You could have a deeper little drawer, if you will, on there. So it's all up to you. That's the really wonderful benefit about these types of projects, if you see there. So you could do like a little basket there, if you wanted to. So play around, see how you like to do it, and of course, how you finish it is all the fun. And one thing I wanted to advise you of is to be able to get this little tier here nice and even. There are the little notches that score into the paper. However, one suggestion that I will give you is that you take the die, and it's right here. This is the die that you're going to use to create, I'm sorry, this portion here in the center, and the width of this here without the tabs is the exact width that you need here, or height, because you would use it in this direction here. Okay, you can cut that piece the same way that I did to decorate the pink portions there, and then use it as a template here. And if you need to, you can draw a line or anything like that, or just go ahead and adhere the paper there, then go ahead and place that little shelf on there. I think that that would be really helpful, so that way you know exactly the height to make this. Obviously mine has a little bit of space there, but that's okay because it allows you to open and close that. So of course that's also personal preference, but I think that this is really adorable. So I will finish my little drops and all of that off camera, and then of course at the end you'll be able to see photos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you're new here, I appreciate your time, and of course those of you who come back, let me know what you think. How will you be using yours? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to know how you plan on using this. I think it's very versatile and super useful, and of course when you get to personalize it, it's a wonderful way to present gifts, whether it be little crafty goodies or just fill it up with little notes that you can then give away to a friend or a loved one. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that you can be inspired and be blessed, and I'll see you in my next video.